Welcome back guys to WCC. Today we have an April Fool's exclusive request by a man named Wilson Owl from Sydney, Australia, who kept asking the question, after March 1st, 2019, where is Dark Irregulars in Premium? After a long time, DI has been such a threat of a deck that Bushiroad decided to get rid of DI's most useful win con, Enigmatic Assassin. If you thought the loss of Enigmatic Assassin was a sad story, this is a sadder one. Wilson on March 1st witnessed a sight more heartbreaking than his first heartbreak. He lost Enigmatic Assassin. After crying for a solid month with no Dark Irregulars to be seen in the metagame, for Premium or Standard, Wilson got fed up, trying so hard by himself to build the best DI Premium deck in spite of the loss of his old friend. So one day, with the peer pressure by many of his friends, he asked to get his deck doctored by WCC. Wilson told WCC that he doesn't care how much money he needs to fess up. He doesn't care what the deck is used for, he just wants to win and dominate with DI again. So today I will show you guys a completely different way to play Dark Irregulars for Wilson and the many Dark Irregular players around the world who cried along with me on that horrific day where we lost a beautiful friend from the world of Vanguard, Enigmatic Assassin. So this is the deck submitted by Wilson, and I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. So instead of taking out separate cards one at a time and explaining each of them, I'm going to take them all out all at once, put in the replacements, and then explain. And I'm going to be separating the main deck from the G-Zone because they each play a separate part in this deck. So I'm going to get rid of pretty much majority of this deck and replace them with some spicy cards for this new deck. So the first 4 cards we're going to put in is 4 King of Mass Dantarian, 4 Ghoulish Despoilers, 1 extra Succubus of Jealousy, 1 Covetous Succubus, 4 Flying Librarians, 4 Harnally, 4 Succubus of Avarice, 4 Hysteric Shirley, 4 Spirit Inviter, and 1 Dragon Deity of Destruction, Gyze. So here are the few reasons why I've chosen these cards to put in this deck. So we'll start with King of Mass Dantarian. So there is a reason why Bushiroad decided to make this card the champion promo for the Bushiroad Springfest 2019 premium format. He serves 2 purposes in this deck. So the first one being he provides you a protect marker, and second, he can guard from soul. Having access to a protect marker means a lot in this format. It is useful against decks like Ichitom and guard restrict decks. But this is mainly centered around the Nobunaga matchup. So by having at least 2 protect markers in your hand as well as no board, Renee cannot do the neg5 combo with the Crow because when they renege and you choose 2 cards from your hand to call, you choose the 2 protect markers, which results in you not calling them due to rulings. This means that Nobutama's Crow has no targets on the field to bounce so that they punish you with a neg5 discard play. Guarding from Soul is quite important in this deck. All your grade 2s filter your deck for darkness units which potentially can net you grade 2s in your Soul. Having grade 2s in Soul, that means that you additionally have cards that you can guard outside of your hand, which essentially means that you actually have more cards in your hand than you actually think. Because you're running Honolly, you are ever only going to guard 4 attacks unless they pay the counterblast 1 cost for any added attacks. But they won't be able to do that because you're going to damage deny them and you will only ever give them 1 damage to utilize. So guarding from your soul for a 15k shield saves so much hand that can be used later to guard the following turns. Ghoulish Despoiler, same purpose for the protect markers for the Nobunaga matchup, and also he has a nice feature where when you ride him, he can tutor you a card from soul that is grade 2 or lower. This means that by riding him, not only do you get a protect marker, but you also get another card from your soul. This card essentially means a +2 when you ride him. Succubus of Jealousy and Demonic Executioner are used to thin your deck of normal units so that all you drive check are triggers, and that's obviously something you want in a Gyze deck. And these two cards are really good early game to search for those Were-Tigers to draw you one, so that it makes it easier on yourself when you verse a heavy aggro deck like Ezel. Flying Librarian is your GB plus engine. It fills your soul so that you reach that 10 soul threshold, so that all following effects are essentially free, draws you a card for guarding, and it's pretty much a free card to intercept with. Covetous Succubus. I'm only running it at 1 because I don't want to run a grade 1 which doesn't net you a +1 in hand, which is really important in a Gyze deck to be able to guard. She is also a darkness card, which means that she can be filtered by your Succubus of Jealousy and Demanded Executioner, as well as if you ever ride her early game, you can proc Succubus of Jealousy without having to wait until your stride turns to use this effect, because she requires a Darkness Vanguard. Additionally, she's a grade 2, which means that she can be used to guard using Dantarian's skill. Next is Were-Tiger, draws you 1 if you soul charge him, pretty self-explanatory. He's a stride fodder. Also, he allows you to combo with your Perfect Guard if your hand is clogged with no cards that are grade 1s or lower. So he can use his effect to discard one of your cards in your hand, say if you're clogged with grade 3s, you ditch a grade 3, you salvage him back, and then you can use him to sack for your Perfect Guard. Honolly makes Ezel a sitting duck. Ezel will only ever get 4 attacks off because you generally attack their rear guards and damage deny. You laugh at blasters because you will never give them CB to launch more than 4 attacks. You laugh at any multi-attack decks because you are ever only going to guard 4 attacks. Your Perfect Guard, you can fetch your Perfect Guard at any time you want. This is very similar to how Angel Feather in Standard operates, where they can generate multiple Perfect Guards all in one turn. This deck practically does the same. And your Perfect Guard can be used to reserve your Protect markers for Rene, or used to guard Ichikishima while still having a Protect marker to guard Silent Tom. So the trigger lineup: 4 heals, 4 stands, 8 draws. The 4 heals are 20k shields, just to make it easy to guard while you're on Gyze or in early turns when you're versing Ezel or like heavy aggro decks. 4 stands, DI's #1 countercharge engine, soul charge engine, and it allows you to trade a trigger from your hand potentially for a normal unit, which means that you are filtering out your deck of normal units to fill for triggers to trigger off Gyze. Draws, pretty self-explanatory. In a Gyze deck, the deck needs to keep up with guarding, and this deck cannot solely rely on Were-Tiger because there's only 4 of them and you're not able to cycle them out in any way. And the last and the most important card to discuss in this main deck is Gyze himself. And people are wondering why are you using Gyze? Well, in my description earlier on, DI lost their #1 win con in Enigmatic Assassin. So we need another way to win. And Gyze generically is a way to win. Insta deals 5 damage? Sure, that's an easy way to win. So Gyze is useful in decks that can guard and generate advantage. So it's a pretty good fit for DI. And Gyze slots in that missing win con slot that DI needed since March 1st when they banned Assassin. So Gyze is essentially your new way of winning. So moving on, we need to remove at least 4 cards to include 4 more Xerath Dragons to be used with Gyze. So in total, I'm going to remove a few cards from this G-Zone. And then in addition with Dust, I'm going to add in 4 more Xerath Dragons, so that makes it 5 Xerath Dragons, 1 Saint Germain, and 1 Gyze. So the reasons why I'm using these cards for the G-Zone: Balam, it's a quad drive, you check 4 triggers, and then you stride into Gyze next turn, and you give a CD Smile to your opponent. Best thing about this card, because you are using Gyze, his skill can soul charge 4 instead of soul charging 2 on first stride, because his skill says to soul charge 2 for each face-up card in G-Zone, which counts Gyze himself. Bledermaus, he's your anti-deck out card and ensures that you will hit your triggers because all you are returning are grade 0s. Since we are using Gyze, we don't need to worry about the starter being in deck while returning these grade 0s. 5 Xerath Dragons for Gyze, self-explanatory. Gyze, get you your ultimate stride fodder from first stride. He can flip a Xerath Dragon so that it can be bound later on when you trigger for Gyze. And it's a flexible choice, so you can use this possibly as an additional G-Guard or maybe another stride, but I feel the Gyze in a worst case scenario, he can bail you out with your ultimate stride fodder. Saint Germain, big shield and resist, and in case you verse D-Police when they have guard bust, you can toss your grade 1 perfect guard and then toss your Saint Germain so that they can't guard bust. Aggro Bat, if you're going first, it's a good card to hit your thresholds, so you can G-Guard into a GB3 Balam and pretty much hit your threshold so that your Flying Librarian, your Covetous, and your Monochromed are essentially free. Drudge Nasu, this G-Guard is so good, so nutty, makes it so that all your grade 2s that you spam on your stride turn, when you're placing in the back row additionally to the front row, they don't go to waste. She soul charges a grade 2 with the Darkness ability to draw you 1 without having any restrictions on what your Vanguard is. So this means that you can fuel for Dantarian's Guard from Soul skill as well as draw cards to guard. And additionally, it's just big shield, which is always a good thing. That's a wrap on this April Fool's special. I hope I have inspired all the Dark Irregular players around the world to stop crying and be happy. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Shout out to Wilson Owl for submitting this deck. I had so much fun making this deck and tested it many times against all different types of decks. Leave a deck list in the comments below for the chance to be featured on Deck Doctor, and stay tuned for the upcoming videos on this channel. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.
By the end of this video, Wilson the Chungus knew that this video did not inspire him at all. Everything in this video was just to promote how degenerate Gyze is. Honolulu doesn't limit to only 4 attacks, but 4 regular attacks first and 1 Vanguard attack after. This deck would get rolled by mermaids, lions with swords, and furry friends. And despite everything that was said, DI is not coming back. Rest in peace, Enigmatic Assassin 2019.